Is there such a thing as being intelligent? What makes one person intelligent versus the other, right? I think we have like this cookie cutter type of view when it comes to like the Bell system and like what's your IQ and this person's smart and this person's like the Duns cap, right? Um, and I think it's like all bogus. It really is. It's like I had to literally refresh myself with it because I remember learning this in class. But it was a man of Howard Gardner, and he pretty much specified 9 types of intelligence. And we all have these special quadrants that we excel in. Like I'm introspective intelligence, introspectual, something like that, intelligence, um, where it's more of self awareness and knowing um, how to self reflect or apathy, and being empathetic, um, knowing what my emotions are, and being able to make sense of it. And then there's other ones as well. There's um, people that are pretty much like in math, musical. There's a slew of them. Well, there's 9 of them, but I think it goes into degrees. So I speak a lot about emotional intelligence, right? And there's aspects that I excel in. Um, I can go deep with someone and really like talk about the things that go wrong in our lives, and really have a conversation about it and be there with the person. And then also in the same spectrum of the prism, be socially awkward, right? Completely socially awkward, and not fit into the mold of societal norms of how you're supposed to interact with the at large or with people. But also very weird with communication. Can't do small talk for nothing, but yet have strong communication skills when it comes to relaying what I'm thinking. Um, can speak as eloquent as possible. Literally come across, even on paper. Um, if I put my mind to it, I can, I can write a piece and, make it as Google Scholar as possible. But then still completely be offbeat speaking with people or saying the wrong things, not having that social intelligence at all. And it's just like, how do you excel at one and then literally be pitiful in another? And it really makes me think it's just like it's not one or the other. It's both. Everything is in degrees. It's not black or white. It's life is all shades of gray. There is no right or wrong when it comes to intelligence. You are intelligent in your own right and the things that you excel in. And I think that's one of the biggest reasons why I always say you can learn something from anyone. I would talk to the CEO of 20 companies underneath their name, and I'll speak to someone that works at McDonald's. They all have something to teach me. Um, and they're worthy to be validated of their intelligence. Um, I don't have a college degree. I have all my credits, but I ain't got a degree. So that does that deem me that I'm not worthy to say what's on my mind? Storytellers have really, really good linguistic skill set. they're able to rhythmically tell a story and make it where it makes sense to everyone else. They're able to portray how they feel, what they're trying to say, and it hits the marker, and they do it in such a way where it's an experience. Because you can tell a story as flat as ever, right? I went around the corner and I stumbled on a rock and fell. And then someone that has very strong communication skills is like, the breeze was warm yet slivers of coolness, and the sunlight was going to sleep and dawning of the day and whatever, and there was magenta blue skies, whatever. Like, just, it comes alive. Disney is huge on the details of communicative skills, linguistic skills, people that write screenplays, poets, songwriters. All these people are storytellers, people that podcasts, talk shows, all types of stuff, very, very adhere to the storytelling type narrative. Even reality TV almost touches it too, because it's all talking about the perspective. And people tune in all the time, right? When Love and Hip Hop came out, mad people was watching it. Everybody was watching it, because it's storytelling. Now, whether you want to have storytelling in the most eloquent way, with grammar repetitions, or you can say it in whatever jargon you like, it's still storytelling. And you still watch it, and you're still glued. There's movies that will be forever classics because of just spectacular storytelling. And people that are able to do that have strong sense of intelligence within that quadrant. I am not good at math at all. I suck at math. But I can write. I may not be able to paint, but I can sketch. I may not be able to talk to a group of people and, have like conversations, but I can talk on a podcast with no one. It's there's no right or wrong, and it's everything is kind of fluid, and it's okay. It's okay to be fluid. It's okay getting the answer wrong. It's okay getting the answer right. And the pressure that you feel that you have to get it right. We have to kind of steer away from having to put on the pressure, or keeping the pressure of what society says, right? Society always has an opinion. Somebody will tell you that you're doing something right, and then the next breath, somebody will tell you you're doing something wrong, right? And then you really, that person and also you have to kind of have that understanding of you're speaking through your experience, and that doesn't mean that everything is going to be cookie cut for me, and I guess that's where empathy comes into play, right? Because you are putting yourself in that shoe of, yeah, not everyone can do what I do. So I cannot really put my solution out there. I can't tell someone you need to live life X, Y, and Z, because I don't live your life. I have no idea what you have to deal with. I have no idea what you have to come up against every day you wake up. So there is no, you're doing life all wrong. You need to do it like me. I'm not doing any better than anyone else. If you really think about it, like, I still struggle with a whole bunch of stuff, and I also excel in a lot of stuff too. It's really weird. I seen this YouTube, Pretty Boss. That she's like, God spoke to her, yo, that day. And it was just like, yo, you're gonna get like, everything's gonna make sense to you. And it really feels like I'm in like this dark room. And I'm starting to realize this is not the room that I'm in. It's not my room. It's someone else's room. And I'm going through all these things and I'm looking through the things inside the room. And it's just like, oh, that makes sense. That's why this room is like this. And I'm like, little spectrals of light is like just shining inside the room. And I'm waiting for the whole room to be lit up so I can get that game changer epiphany. And when she said it, she was just like, yo, everything's gonna make sense to you. And it was just like, holy shit, she's fucking right. Because it came out of nowhere. I literally was watching this series thinking nothing about it. And an epiphany came out of nowhere. And it was just like, oh, that's why it's like this. And that's why I'm like this. Well, I'll be fucking damned. I'll be damned. It's crazy. And even though the whole thing is not clear yet, um, it will become clear. This is just like whatever is foggy, you pray on it, and you're like, I really need to understand this because you're trying to show me something, guys. Like you're trying to break this stronghold, and I'm trying to understand it. And I keep going through the same cycle, and it's just like one of the few cycles that is just like, this has to be broken through God. Like all of them are broken through God, but this one is like, yo, it's just me and you in a room, bro. Like, how are we gonna do this? And it's working. I can't wait. But speaking back to intelligence, you kind of got to be aware of who you are, and you kind of have to be very aware of the expectations of what society puts on you, of what these things mean, right? And I think over time, we're becoming more intelligent creatures as time goes on, as technology keeps growing, as inventions keep growing, and we um, refine the things that we have to make them better. We are growing more intelligent. Our children it's like we almost changed our DNAs to have more capacity for intelligence. Right now, we're kind of struggling, especially as technology grows. Our brain has to keep up with technology. That's why multitasking sucks when you're on the computer. Your brain just cannot keep up as a computer can. But I think 3 or 4 generations in, our children will be better adapted to it than we ever can be. You ever notice that when you reach a certain age, you just become like computer illiterate? Just like at a certain age, you just don't know what the fuck the computer is anymore. It's just like, what the fuck is this? And unless you're like immersed in it all the time, you're not going to. And I can feel myself slipping in certain things. It's just like, I don't know how to work this shit. But my son knows how to work it. Like, he's literally a kid. But it's like foreign object for me. And I do know that if I don't stick with it or learn it as it progresses, it's going to be like, you're going to get lost in the sauce. But his kids are going to know, Oculus fucking the 8th edition. And he's going to be like, I remember too. I don't know this shit. So our brains are, I wouldn't say that we're growing. I don't think we're going to get more muscle mass, more, brain mass. Maybe we'll be born with bigger heads. I don't know. But I do feel like neuroplasticity is going to be a major factor with us. And if you're wondering what neuroplasticity is, it's when your brain literally makes detours. It reroutes everything so this way it can adapt to the new change. Neurogenesis is when you actually make new neurotransmitters. They make new connective tissues. But you're born with a certain set of transmitters after the age of 2. So you have like millions of them by the age of 2. It depends on how much stimulation you've actually had from during that time of birth to 2 years old. Depends on how much neurotransmitters you're gonna have. That's why you stimulate your child like shit when they're growing up. But if you're able, when you do have these neurotransmitters, what ends up happening is that, just like how memory works, long-term memory, your brain is very smart and very efficient. Whatever it deems of something that you're not going to need, it gets rid of it. You won't remember anymore because your brain threw it away. So as you're passing down a block and you say you're like a passenger and not a driver, you're driving a block, you're a passenger. From the passenger's viewpoint, you may not see all of the road signs, right? So say like Linden and, Lenox or whatever. You may not remember where your favorite store, you may not remember all the street names that you have to pass in order for you to get to your favorite store because you're in a passenger seat. But the driver driving you will know each one because they rely on looking at the road and rely on looking at the street maps because they need to know when to turn, when to stop. They know there's a stop sign like 2 blocks up because they always have to stop there. It's going to be more prominent, or they're going to know. I would say this: if you are a passenger, you're not going to know parking regulation signs. Like you can't park between 9 a.m. to like 6 p.m. or you have to do alternate road or whatever. A passenger that's never driven before is not going to remember that at all. But the person driving will know that stuff because they're used to it and they literally kept looking at it so it can be memorized in their brain. So with the day that you do see that sign, you're not going to remember unless it's something very prominent. You're not going to remember it after like a few months or how long ever it takes your brain to do it. You're not going to know. But I'm going way off to like the left side when it comes to psychology. I'm sorry. But neuroplasticity is the detour. Your brain will make detours and it adapts to what it is given, right? So if you're consistently giving it technology, it's going to adapt to technology after a while. That's why they say like these pandemic kids is just different. Because it's not the fact it's a pandemic. Our children are just different. Our children are smarter. They're way more aware from even like birth. These kids are like, their head is sitting up after like 2 weeks. They got upper body strength. Their eyes are like fully open after like the first day. Like as soon as they get out, their eyes are fully open, looking around the room. And you're like, what the hell? It's kind of like eerie. But we have adapted, and it shows in our kids. It's like exercising. I know I always bring it back to exercising, but it's true. You can actually change your DNA after, I think, 7 years. If you work out consistently for 7 years, you actually change your DNA. So when your children is whatever, if you birth children after 7 years, and both of you guys have exercised for 7 years, that child is more prone to have, they build muscle like they can build muscle easier. Not the fact they're going to be born with a 6-pack, but they're more, their body's more adaptive to be more fit because your body was fit before that, and it literally changed your DNA. Not dramatically, but your children will be more prone. That's why they be like, why like Black people, our bodies are shaped this way, or Black people can be like super like the stereotype of like athletes and stuff like that, right? And they always say, well, our ancestors were fucking, on farms and shit, doing mad hard work and hard labor for fucking years. So our bodies are going to be stronger, That's where that kind of thing comes into play. Not sure how true that is. Maybe not. I don't know. I didn't do enough research for me to sit there and stand by it yet. But you working out for over 7 years, it's either 7 or 8 years. That is true. That is actually true. Look it up. But yeah, our brains naturally adapt to what we are, and whatever you pretty much adapt yourself with, because it's like, you ever notice, it's like if you are musical, your children tend to be more musical. You ever notice that? You're like, oh, your mother was a dancer, and like the child like has rhythm, always had rhythm or whatever. Or artists inside families, it's like they always say, oh, it's in the blood, because it's like you trained yourself in that quadrant of intelligence, right? There is an art, I don't know which one it is, but there's an intelligence quadrant for art. So if you train yourself to do that all the time, and I'm pretty sure when it goes down to even almost like a biological level, you are adapting your kid, your future children, to be prone to excel higher when they're learning it, when they're born, when they're, after birth. They'll pick it up faster, especially if you have it around them as soon as they're born. If you have paints and drawing and stuff like that. When I was younger, my father used to draw a lot. Both of my parents, they drew. And I remember going to help them do murals when they were doing like student plays and stuff like that, and like these huge murals for the auditorium. I remember helping. And it's wild, right? But I was around that, and I've always loved art. It was always within me. And maybe it was because both my parents did art, and I grew up in art, There's some people that their parents do art and the kid wants to be something completely different. There's a probability that your child may not do that, but are they more prone that they're able to excel at it faster? It may not be drawing, but it could be architecture. I'll be an architect. It could be, whatever. I don't know. It's the topic is too broad, and there's way too many like paths that you can just float in and really like learn. For it to be like a set in stone, this is what it is. Like I said, it's shades of gray. Even things that I'm saying, like, it's shades of gray. It's not concrete, even though, I said it doesn't mean it's necessarily all the way true. I'm not an expert or a guru, nor do I claim to be. And I think it takes incredible amount of time and efficacy for you to become a guru in any nature, right? You can be a guru of your own life because you've been doing it since the time you were born. But to be guru of a subject, that's something else. Not a guru. You have great knowledge of something, but not a guru. And we live in a world where everyone's entitling themselves as a guru, right? You have to really test the spirit. Like, are you a true guru or not? So yeah, I'm not a guru in anything but my life. That's it. And even with that, there's still a whole bunch of shit that I don't know about myself yet. Go figure, right? There's so many things we don't know about ourselves. And I think there is like this little joke going around. And it's just like, how come there's no in between from like childhood to adulthood, right? It's just like all you gotta do is just be adulting for the whole rest of your life. Like adulting's too long. There's no like next stage, but there is a next stage. Millennial outlook of like not seeing farther, right? Further. There is a such thing as middle old. There is. I think it's like young old. So it's like 55 to like 65 is young old. 65 to like 75 or 85 is middle old. And 85 down is old. Those are new stages of adulthood. There's something that you're going to have to experience if hopefully, God bless, we get there, right? But if you look at the factors, your children are older. You're probably going to be trying to go towards retirement, right? That changes. Adulthood completely changes from there. You're not, you're in an empty house now because all your kids grew up. Yeah, some of them may give you grandkids, but not necessarily. If you were married, there is a great possibility that your partner will die. You know, so it's like new challenges. It's new devils there. Not saying death is a devil, but you're going to go through bigger struggles. Your kids may want to not be in, say you live in Atlanta, your kids may want to be in like Texas. Like you're not going to have family. There's a possibility that you may not have it as how you had all your kids in your house, right? What happens then when your kids don't want to come back, right? What happens when you're 85, 95, and now you had two broken hips and you need help and you have to face going inside of a home because your kids don't want to house you or they can't afford to house you or whatever it is. Or what happens if your kid dies before you? Like, there's different shit you gotta deal with getting older. So yeah, there's new levels to adulthood. You just haven't seen it yet or not aware of it yet. Geriatric is a bitch. Geriatric is a bitch. Why am I peeing on myself for no reason? Because you're older now and you wear Depends. Get ready for the Depends life, some of you guys. Do Kegels. I don't know. But, don't just, I can't, that's almost like ageism a little bit, right? It's just like, oh, it's just adulting. It'd be like, no, there's levels to adulting. Trust and believe. And it can get better or worse depending how you lived your life and how you treated people. So you gotta look at it like that too. I don't know. Something to think about. But hopefully a lot of people get there. I'm hoping to get there at that age, right? Where I'm like 85, 95. And I'm like, my problem is I can't get my kid or my kids to come over for, Thanksgiving or Christmas. Like I should wish that's one of my problems. Or, I don't know. That's gratitude though, right? Be grateful for your problems. Be grateful for your problems because people have a whole lot more worse problems than you do. And I'm starting to learn that in a deeper way. Like I knew it, but I'm learning it in a deeper way. Why things stem from other things and what they mean and making sense of it. Neuroplasticity is a bitch when trauma happens. And some people's trauma are not reported. They don't talk about it. Or if they did talk about it, it wasn't a good response. So they learn to do the same thing to other people. Hence projecting. That's one way projecting can start, right? There's many ways projectors can start. But that's one of the few. But I'm learning. Learning is a beautiful thing. I guess as one of the 9 pillars of intelligence. At least I have, one. I'm hoping to have at least one. Um, may not be smart in everything, but I'm hoping I'm smart at least in one.